What's up, guys? It's Matt. Today we're working on the FC. This is my buddy and neighbor Dave. Say hi, Dave.
Hey, how you doing?
Dave makes some really cool hot rods down the street, and he's teaching me how to paint. So what we've got is a huge selection of paints right here. Check out what we got. So he told me to grab some greens, some reds, like some metal primer reds, even some glitter, and some silver and clear, and somehow we're going to mix all that up to make the bed of this match the cab. We're working in the new shop here. It's kind of dark though because I don't have it finished yet, so I've got this light over here helping us out. But anyway, I didn't believe it at first. I didn't believe we could make those colors match, but check this out. Where's the metal? We kind of scuffed it up to do some testing, but that is very, very similar. It's a good match actually to right under here. So this looks like green, but it's got some browns in it, some reds in it, some silvers in it, even some glittery kind of silver speck or gold in there. So first step, paint the bed with silver, and then the next step, he says, is to paint with the rusty metal primer over the top of the silver, and then there's going to be some green and some more silver in there. So let's see how this goes, and we'll show you what it looks like in the end. I went to get Dave a Dr. Pepper and asked if he'd rather have a beer. Tell him about the beer, Dave.
Well, after painting for hours, you can go brush your teeth, mouthwash, all that stuff, and you still smell and taste paint. The only way to truly get the taste out of your mouth is to drink a beer. If the first one don't work, the second one will.
I don't know if it's the beer that's getting rid of the taste or the alcohol.
Maybe a little bit of both.
Alright, phase 2 complete. We have our red coat on there. It's kind of a rusty color depending on how the light hits it.
Okay, so when we paint the green, the way the color of the truck is, it's darker green at the bottom than it is at the top. So we're going to put more paint, green paint, towards the bottom, and then we're going to pull the gun back away and fade the green about halfway up those rails, and then we're going to come back on top of it and we're going to dust it with some silver paint, but it's going to be the opposite. We're going to fade at the bottom because it's lighter silver at the bottom. We're going to bring more up towards the top, but then fade it again at the top, so there's less silver at the
Did you
bottom.
get all that? Hey, it's James the mailman.
What's going on, Mr. Mailman?
Oh yeah.
It is darn close, buddy.
Alright, we're still not done yet, but I gave Dave the pen so he could sign the back here. We need a few more signatures. Make it good. You only get one shot at this. Hollywood. Alright guys, today is canvas day. I've got my canvas laid out there and we're going to put that up on here. But let me show you what I'm working with here. So, having Dave over here was a huge help and a learning experience for me. You can see what we've got here looks really good. I mean, it's not exactly perfect, but it looks really great. So after Dave left, I had yesterday to kind of touch all this up, and I kind of decided that I didn't want the green on here. I wanted it to be more rusty to kind of break up the lines of the box. So it was a lot of experimentation. I didn't really film a lot of it, but let me show you what I did. I'll go over it real quick now that it did turn out well. So once I figured out the formula, it went pretty quick. Dave said to use this Scotch-Brite stuff and knock down the silver. So the top layer on here is silver. I just got that wet. It kind of changes colors when it's wet. But the top color is silver, and we were blending that silver in to kind of make sure that you didn't see the silver in there. And then in heavier spots where I wanted to make it even rougher, I actually took 150 grit, I think. There we go. I laid it out for you. So the Scotch-Brite, what it did was it took this paint. It kind of had a glossy finish. Even though it was supposed to be matte, it still kind of looked glossy. So that took a lot of the glossy finish off. I wanted to make it even look rougher, so I took a DA and some 220 sandpaper and sanded all the flat spots as well. Everywhere I wanted to remove the paint, I took some 80 grit on the DA and I went around all the edges of this 2x3 and just took off as much paint as possible. And then I still couldn't get it all. Wasn't really happy with that. So I took some aircraft remover, yes, not aircraft paint remover, just aircraft remover, and you'll notice that there's no aircrafts in the whole vicinity. But I took some of that and I rubbed it on all the places where I wanted to take off all the paint, or at least most of the paint. So like here, 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 all the 2x3 spots basically. And then after you let that sit up for about 15 minutes or so, I took the mineral spirits and wiped that down, and it kind of stops the process of that paint remover and cleans it up. And then it was just bare metal. So like this whole section, it took it back down to bare metal. But to give it that rust color, I took some distilled vinegar, put it in a spray bottle, or you can just put it on a rag and wipe it. And that's how I got the rust color. So you wipe it with vinegar and then you just let it dry on there and it gives it that rust color. Now I'm debating whether or not I should take that and clear coat it, or if I should just let it be just kind of evolving as it weathers. Oh, one more thing. I took the all these bars, they were kind of glossy as well, so I took the 220 and just scuffed those up real good too. And they are going to be covered up by the canvas, but it's very similar in color to the rust there, but it wasn't at first. At first it had a real shiny gloss to it, and I knocked that down quite a bit. And then a couple spots we took, of course, and rubbed off some of the paint just to make it look like it's got some wear marks over the years. We had to age this thing 60 years in just 2 days. So that cab has been sitting out in the sun for 60 years. So anyway, let's get that canvas on here. Oh, I wanted to show you this wheel too. There's no hard and fast rules about it. It's kind of hard to match the actual wheel with all its rust and glory. But I actually spray painted some of this while it was sitting out here in the rain, and that's what kind of gave it these little splotches like you see on the factory wheels. little splotches here and there, and where that paint didn't stick because the rain was on it, kind of gave it those same splotches. Alright, back to this canvas. This canvas is heavy. I'm doing this by myself now. Here's my plan. I couldn't get the canvas size that I wanted, so I went ahead and ordered a little bit bigger. I'm going to fold this over, and then I plan on putting a piece of 1/4 inch steel on the front, and then also putting a flat bar on the front and bolting it down to the top of that rack. The reason being, I'm not sure how much wind this sucker is going to try to get going down the road, and I literally have until 2 days from now where I have to take this thing overlanding, and that's going to be an exciting adventure, so stay tuned for that. But let's put this thing on there. Let's get it started. I need something to hold that canvas down, so I'm going to use bungee cords, but I need something to hook those to. So I've taken this old chain, which actually came with the FC on the bed, and I've cut them in half, and now I'm just grinding them smooth, and then I'll weld those on the bed to hold those bungees down. Alright, so now my plan is to take these rubber straps, and I'll go somehow through these holes that I welded up here. Then I'm going to stretch that down through the loop that I welded here, and then back to here. Pretty tight. To keep this front edge from flapping too much, I've got this 1/4 inch rod that I made that I'm going to put through here and bend it around to shape. So, I'll get that in there. Alright guys, that's all I've got for you today. In the next video, the wife and I are going to take you on an adventure, 5 different states, 1,000 miles, and we're hitting the Daniel Boone Backcountry Byway. In the meantime, check these videos out here, and we'll see you in the next one.